Hey guys, how you going? Al, old 60 series, how are you? You might be noticing it's pretty late. I've just got back from a quick trip down to see Mum and Nan, do some jobs for them. And I had 24 hours to do it, so I've done some pretty epic driving. So I've driven from north side of Brisbane to Port Macquarie and back again in 24 hours, and managed to squeeze in a whole bunch of work for Mum and Nan, which was great. Pick up a few bits and pieces, which is pretty cool as well. But we've got a problem, and it's not an overly big problem, but hence the next YouTube video that I'm about to drop in relation to fixing up the old cruiser. So, a couple of problems. The front drive shaft, and I'll show you in a second, it's the slip yoke is just a bit sloppy as, so I can actually feel it when I drive. It's actually got a bit of a shudder. I thought it might have been unis, which is easier because I actually have unis, but it's not. So the slip yoke, and when I got to Port Macquarie, I was just lucky that I didn't park on Mum's nice driveway, but I parked out in the street because I had to move a bunch of stuff anyway. Parked out on the street, walked back down to get some tools out of the old girl, and as I was walking down the driveway, I could see something shimmering. I climbed in underneath, and it was a nice big pool of oil. I have had a couple of leaks for a period of time on the old girl, so basically both sides of the engine are leaking. I've also done a front main seal as well. So yeah, anyway, so not overly complex stuff here, but certainly with the side oil leaks, I am going to have to take a lot of stuff off the motor and go from there. But to give you a bit of an example, I've literally just driven in, hence you can probably see that the doors are open on the car. I'm just unpacking as we speak. I do have a heap of parts, and yes, we're going to get up in the morning and tackle all of these leaks to get it back serviceable again and not creating a massive carbon footprint, because I think between Port Macquarie and Brisbane I've probably used at least 1.5 litres of oil. I wouldn't have normally have driven like that. I just didn't have the parts or the tools to be able to actually rectify it. It's a public holiday today, so it made that even more challenging. And then obviously I need to work tomorrow, so I've got a few hours in the morning that I can dedicate to getting bits off, and then we'll go from there. But I'll see how I go here, but I'll try and show you a bit of these oil leaks if I can, and how we're going to go about fixing them. So cool. All right, guys. Right. So that's from now, effectively. So I've just driven in. You probably can't see the shimmer. Oh, actually you can, yeah, the shimmer coming off the diff. She's wet. I believe it's a front main seal, hence, it's probably one of the easiest places to find it, but I did notice a slight weep on it, and yeah, it's gone. But you can look at that cardboard box. There's a lot of oil. So let's get up in the morning. I was going to show you that slip yoke, but I'll show you that tomorrow after I've degreased everything. I'm not touching that, not before dinner. I've had a long day as it is, but yeah, a lot of grime, a lot of grease, oil. Yeah, I mean, it generally does look pretty good. It's Everything needs a really good degrees. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, if you're wondering, yes, it was pouring rain for most of the day. You can see all that speckling. It's engine oil vaporising with water, doing 110 k or 100 k's an hour. So anyway, all good. One really cool thing that I did pick up when I was down there was some gasket paper. So that'll make life a little bit easier tomorrow. We're probably going to have to make a few gaskets. I've got the side cover gaskets. I haven't got a front main seal yet, but I'll whip out, and I should be able to get one of those from somewhere in Brisbane tomorrow. But as for the others, we just said about making some. It's something I've always wanted to try, and I've watched a couple of YouTube videos. As far as what we're about to tackle tomorrow, I know you know, I'm not a mechanic, but it seems to be pretty straightforward in aspects. All I'm doing is taking covers off, fitting gaskets to put them back on. So as well, yeah, obviously the front main seal, they're not overly expensive, but there is a little bit of fiddliness about them, and you'll pick up as we go. But that front main seal obviously turns a lot of belts. Oh, sorry, a lot of belts. There's 2 belts on the front of a 12 HT. So we'll work through those as we go, and obviously to get down to the parts of the motor that I need to be able to fit. Actually, they're not going to be paper, but the side cover, for example, I'm going to have to remove basically the exhaust manifold. I don't think I have to take the turbo off, but we'll have a bit of a look, etc, etc. So there's a little bit of stuff involved in it. I do have the factory service manual, as well as the other thing from Toyota that in the morning I'll tell you exactly what it's called. So I have them electronically. Yeah, most of the stuff we'll talk about tomorrow, I've never, ever done. So it could be a horrible outcome, but I think we should be okay. And if all else fails, we'll call a mobile mechanic. But I think it should be okay. But obviously on one side, on the opposite side of the engine, I've got to remove all the injector lines and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's something that I haven't tackled before either. So from what I understand, it can't be too hard. I'm going to use basically all of the garage. So we'll take the old girl out for a coffee in the morning, which is just down the street, warm her up, bring her back home, not hot but warm, let it sit for half an hour, get the degreaser onto her over the grass, take her back up the, while it's down on the grass, dripping dry. We'll lay a heap of cardboard out, get some drop sheets and a few other bits and pieces like that, get all pans, the whole box and dice. We'll tackle these leaks, and then we'll also do filter and oil change as well. So not sure how this video will come together. It's probably going to end up about 4 hours long, and that'll be trimmed, because I remember the first time I did wheel bearings. So I started off on the rear. That took me about 3 hours or 4 hours for the first one. By the second time, by the other rear, I'd had that down to about just over an hour. The first time I did the front swivel hubs, sorry, the front swivel hub. I went all the way back to the swivel hub, put the CV out, PCVs, blah blah blah. First time, the first side took me 12 hours, and I didn't want to stop, because if I had stopped, I would have forgotten what I was doing. But then obviously the other side, it took me just under 4. So obviously it's one of those things you live and you learn, and hopefully through what we'll talk about in the morning, just for setup, how I'm going to set my garage up, how I'm going to do it, This is like, it's mechanics for idiots, because I'm an idiot. So this is just the way that I've found works for me. You're going to need lots of tubs, snap-lock bags, rough plastic gloves or latex gloves, proper gloves, and yeah, just a heap of time. So it's just the way I do it. I'm not saying that you have to do it. You know, I'm not saying you should do anything I do, but you know, there's some opportunity here that maybe you might be able to watch something funny. It's potentially going to be a little bit funny, but yeah, don't be frightened of having to go yourself, because what's the worst thing that can happen? Literally, what is the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that could happen is that I don't put the car back together properly and it doesn't start. And then if I need to get a mechanic out to diagnose it, then that's great. But everything I'm going to do is going to help the old girl. And yeah, ironically, I actually put down, you know, this is, I've just read this on a couple of forums. I fitted a ProVent 200 probably around 7 months ago, and probably about 12 or 15,000 Ks ago. And ever since I've fitted the ProVent 200, I've now suffering these huge oil leaks, and I believe it has to do with pressurization. So from what I've read on forums, it's just not a, you know, obviously you've got air pushing in, trying to filter to flow back through. It's a 16mm line that runs to the ProVent, back out of the ProVent, and I think that is what actually has driven, you know, yes, they're 32 years old, whatever it might be, but up until that point, really, I knew it. Actually, the side covers were leaking, but you know, when I say leaking, you know, like you might get a drop, you know, and I was probably burning, you know, maybe half a litre to every 1,000 Ks of oil, so 500 mils every 1,000 Ks, and it's, you know, obviously blow by and a few other bits and pieces like that. So yeah, I'm actually going to delete it. I'm going to remove it. I'm just going to go back to, it's done, did 480,000 Ks by itself, but it just plumbed back into the intake. And I'm just going to go back to it. No more ProVent. You may have remembered my first video, I was going to rebuild it at 500,000 Ks. A lot of stuff's changed since then. So it's probably money I don't really need to spend. The engine just runs like a dream. It's just start up. Yeah, so, oh, and I've got to adjust the idle. It's just a bit low. Idle's at about 500 RPM. According to the according to specs, it should be around 700 with the aircon off. So, but yeah, I mean, this has already gone for way too long. But welcome to the intro. And as I said, I'm not sure how this will all play out. It may go into sections, but happy days. Oh, and no special tools. So I'm not using any special tools. Nothing. You know, I'll show you all those in the morning. There is absolutely not one special tool. If you've got sockets, spanners, I'm going to use an impact driver just to undo bolts because it's faster. But other than that, if I really wanted to, I can socket everything off. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go have a beer and see you in the morning. Au revoir.